just want to come on live because I was watching Michael Knowles on PragerU. Yes, I do like PragerU. It's one of my binge watch YouTube videos. I do support them. I also support the New American. I just subscribed both to the online and the magazine. I hope I did, anyways. You know, my brain sometimes is like crazy. But one of the things that I love about the New American is they're not a conspiracy. And I think YouTube should stop censoring them because they're verifiable. As a paralegal, a certified paralegal, I could tell you that this is verifiable. And you gotta stop. Because you are, let me just tell you what I wrote to Facebook. Their business, and you are seriously breaching on contract law. And not only that, but who the hell are you to interfere with appropriate a business's good name? And not only that, but hello, YouTube. Look, just like I told Facebook, they take their education to the public very seriously. And what they're doing is educating the public. Okay? And when they post their videos, they're posting it for the benefit of people who may not know what's going on. Okay? They are a good media source for alternative news. They are brilliant. Check this out. Defense Secretary Austin overruled National Guard chief on keeping troops on control memo. To the average reader, this may appear to be a sensationalized story, throwing fuel on the embers of an already charred issue in our capital, but the story captures the growing and troubling divide between the Secretary of Defense and the Chief of the National Guard Bureau over the appropriate use of the National Guard. This is serious because in the Constitution, we're not supposed to have the National Guard quartering us. Anyways, that article right here is a very good article, and if you haven't read it, I really think you should hit the button where it says subscribe to the New American, and at the very least, from here, go and search for the New American and subscribe to their channel. Yes. And show them some love. Yes. Because you're missing out. I mean, you're going to be enlightened. Your mind. It's going to be like, oh, I didn't know that. So, anyways, it's a really good article, and you could go over to their website and check it out. The other thing that I wanted to share with you is Frankenstein. And this is because Michael Knowles had a guest, and I guess the guest said you should read Frankenstein. Well, we have our very own Frankenstein. Usborne published as this story. It's based on the story by Mary Shelley, illustrated by Victor Tavers. doesn't say whether it's retold. It usually says, but it is a reader for children with illustrations. And in the back, what I like is that it gives the author's bio. And Mary Shelley was born in 1797, and she died in 1851. She was born in England in 1797. Her parents were both writers, and she spent most of her childhood reading, writing, and dreaming. As she grew up, Mary became friends with the poets Percy Shelley, whom she later married, and Lord Byron. In 1816, the friends spent the summer near Geneva. Together, they discussed ideas about good and evil and science. How cool is that? Including Galvani's discovery that electricity can make a dead body move again. Ideas which later made their way into Mary's writing. One rainy day, after reading a book of ghost stories, Byron suggested that they each make up a new ghost story. After a while, the others gave up, but Mary, inspired, she said, by a terrible waking dream, went on to write Frankenstein. The novel was published 2 years later and was an instant hit. It was quite quickly adapted for the stage and later film, and has become one of the most famous stories in the English language. So if you haven't read Frankenstein, I just because Michael Knowles read it and he'd never read it, I think all of you should go read it and then watch the movie. Victor Frankenstein dreams of creating life. As lightning flashes across the sky, his creature stirs. Will it be the perfect being he imagines or a monster? The story, it has 9 chapters, so it's not very big. And it talks about, well, we're reading it. My son's reading it. Actually, sorry. I always do that. I don't know why. Well, my son is reading it, and so we marked the page. And he's actually a better reader this year and end of year. Man, I struggled to get him to reading fluently. Some of the things of homeschooling, and I've done all of them. So the reason I wrote my book was because I had books like this, and none of them told you about how to teach phonics. And I understand why, because in 1984 it was completely eliminated. So it teaches you little things and little tricks and character mappings, but that's more grammar. After you learn to hear the sounds, then you got to learn to pronounce the sounds. Then you train your eye to see the letters with the sounds. And then you could build on words. So my book puts back phonics the way it used to be taught. And by no means it's just a tip. It's a handbook for how to engage the little ones in learning to read in a fun way, which is not bookwork. Because when you're younger and you're still training your ear, you don't want to put a book immediately in front. You want to make sure that their ear is trained and they can hear the sounds. So my book is really, really good, and I highly recommend that if you're a teacher or a homeschool educator, that you buy my book, because it's going to really help you make reading fun, and you're not going to struggle. And I recommend that you look. I do have some books here. that you go back before 1940 and buy some of the older books, because they show you how to teach reading once they've developed that ear. You don't want to put the book until you have got their ear trained. Got it? No, seriously. You want to train the ear. And before you train the ear, after you train the ear, you want to train the pronunciation. So once you're training the pronunciation, you can start with some readers, easy readers. Like this little reader is, it's really cool. 6 things. The fairies are very polite. Only one fairy talks at a time. When there are 2 fairies in a word, the first one does the talking, and the other one keeps still and does not say a thing. So this is teaching you some of the rules in English in a fun rhyme. So when they're 4 years old, you can actually read this to them. I wouldn't recommend you putting it in front of them, but I would read it to them. The fairies want you to know. Same. The boy fairies lets the girl fairies do the talking, unless he comes first. When there is only one fairy, and it is one on the end of the word, it says its real name. So that is telling you that when you see a vowel at the end of the word, see the E? Okay, that's a silent E. It makes the other vowel say its name in a fun way. Look at this. Okay, so can you say the words too? They rhyme with my name, says Fan. Fan. Ann, ban, can, Dan, Ann, ban, can, Dan, Ann, ban, can, Dan. So I rather have this. Okay, so before I had another book, and I really didn't like it. I don't know. This is what I wanted. And I didn't come across this until my son was in 2nd grade. And by the time I was in 2nd grade, my dad had passed away. And that year was like a total flop. Don't tell anybody, but it was a flop. I couldn't focus at all when my dad passed away. But this book, I highly recommend it for kindergarten. I wish I had it when my son was from 2 years old to 6. Because this would have been better than preschool prep, which is what I used, but this is way better. It is way better. Look at this. So see those words? The fairy E spoke. See me play a joke and make fairy O. Say her name. Oh, no. Oh, ho. Do, fo, ho, Joe. Row, toe, woe, or, bore, gore, more. So you're learning words and you're learning rules with the words. This book was Moore and Wilson Readers, A Child's Book of Phonics Games. 1927. So that's right around the time when the reformers, the progressives, were initiating the look and say word method that we have today, which puts everyone back and handicaps anybody who goes through public education. So this is true phonics. What else do I have? I do have something else. And I can't find it right now. But I can't find it. Here it is. Word mastery. Okay, so this one right here is a course in phonics for the first 3 grades. And this one is a 1913. That is the year that that they started the reform, 1913. And I did write an essay. If you want my essay, please comment below. And I do have a link to my to subscribe to my email. So if you subscribe, I will send you my essay on equity in education. And you can read about the history of how the word method, or the look say method came to be, and some of the ideas behind the reform. It's thinking about it right now is like, I can't believe that we allowed ourselves to have government controlled education. We Before 1913, parents were the ones who picked the curriculum alongside the teachers. And this right here, so this is the true method. So you have the moon and a man. Do not undertake to teach these lessons until you have carefully studied the suggestions to teach, page 110. M and RFSL represent sounds that may be prolonged. This makes them the easiest of the consonant sounds to blend and therefore to learn first. See directions on page 111 for teaching the sound of M. So you go to 111, and the way it says to teach M is by, well, you know what? So when you're playing a game, it says you want to play a game of monkey see, monkey do. Only they're going to do what you sound out. So, for example, you're gonna ask a 5-year-old, bring me a b, 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 k. Only book you wouldn't introduce yet, because that has 2 vowels, and one of them is a long vowel. So you want to start with easy stuff like, well, but I guess you can do that, but you have to sound it out slowly. Bring me my t, and you say it enough. Bring me my t, t, t. So they hear the sound. So you play this game for about 20 minutes per day, 30 minutes, and until they start recognizing. I think like it takes like a few months for them to pick up the game. So mom, oh, let me see. Oh man, little Johnny, please turn on the f f f f f n n n. So you're enunciating the words so that they hear the sounds, and they have to connect the letters together to get what you're trying to say. So, this is a good book. I have more of these. I have other readers that are really, really good, but those are my 2 favorite books, and that I highly recommend. And if you could find them, which they stopped printing these curriculums in 1940. And so we have this little reader, and this is good. In general, I do agree with some of the things that you should do is modeling. you should model for your child. The more he hears you read, the better he will be at pronouncing the words. Um, Paired reading, so you want to read aloud with your child while running your finger. Let me tell you, this finger stuff, my son never did. He now is doing his finger. So some kids will pick up on the finger and some kids will not. Um, and some kids are going to pick up reading like this, and some kids are going to be like, I don't want to read. That's too hard. So do not rush reading. It takes 10 years to learn how to read. Anyways, so once they learn how to read, like around 9 or 10, then you want to start teaching them how to write a book review. So this little book shows you what to do for book reviews and stuff. And reading comprehension should be automatic if you're reading aloud to your child. They will pick up the reading comprehension. My son has very good reading comprehension, even though he did not read automatically. It did take him. No, how long did it take him? It took him 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. It took him 6 years to pick up on reading and to get comfortable. So he now is reading comfortably. And I continue to do phonics. Some kids just need it. So you can go and you can do phonics all the way up to 5th grade, 6th grade. There is no rush. The thing is that you do need to teach reading and all the rules and make sure that they have it down and reinforce it. And then you do want to teach grammar. And there's more to grammar than just parts of speech. There are, if you want to be a good reader, you need to be able to parse a sentence. Like right here, I'm writing to you one last time. Who's the subject? I am. What am I doing? I'm writing to you. And I am writing is a verb phrase. And what am I doing? I'm writing to you one last time. I think that's prepositional. Okay, I'm still learning the parsing. That's like the object of the preposition. I can't remember. I'm still learning. And then I represent myself, pro se. Okay, so I'm the subject, represent is a verb, and myself. And then I put a comma, and I put pro se. So the parsing is really important, and I didn't realize, I always thought it was tedious, but it's not. Because when I'm such a better writer for teaching my son this diagramming. I can see how you can avoid some of the adjectives and adverbs that you write that you really don't understand. Sometimes you just write it because you think you're giving details, but you don't really need it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Anyways, those are the 2 books that I like. And buy my book. It's just a handbook that everybody should have. And I show you just simple little games that you can do. And if you want to go beyond, I highly recommend that you look those 2 books up that I just shared with you. And you should buy this book and read it with your son or your daughter because it's a really good book. And a female wrote it in the early 1800s. So women were actually writing in the early 1800s, and her name is on the book. So I don't want to hear that there was discrimination and women were this and that. No, no. Don't let by it. We have a wonderful history here in America, and you should learn it. You should read the arguments that the framers made, for and against, the Anti-Federalists and the Federalists. I've read them all. You should also read the Constitution. Try to put the Constitution with the Federalist Papers, and you'll have a much better understanding. And because we are free, we have self-determination here, and we govern ourselves based on those laws. And we are the last check of the government. Learn your Constitution. Learn, because we are free. Do not let these Marxists take over. Please do not. Anyways, have a great day. And please buy this book. You're going to love it. It's a really good book. If you haven't read it. Anyways, talk to you later. And have a great day. And go to k4699.myuban.com and shop today and support me. And subscribe, like, and share this video. Thank you. And don't forget, I'm going to post in the comment my book. Please go to Amazon and buy my book. It's not that expensive. And just start using Phonics again. Thank you.